Sleep paralysis nightmares. You wake up, but your body won't move, and something feels horribly close. That's sleep paralysis, paired with a nightmare. Your mind is awake while your body is still in REM sleep, and the dream world can spill into your waking moment. During sleep paralysis, the chest can feel heavy, breathing seems hard, and people often sense a presence, shadow, or pressure on them. That presence is usually the brain creating a threat, while the body's muscles remain locked from REM atonia. Because you're conscious and can't act, the fear skyrockets, and the dream content becomes fused with reality. Triggers include irregular sleep, extreme tiredness, sleeping on your back, and sudden awakenings from deep REM. It's more common during high stress and after sleep disruption. Despite how terrifying it feels, it's not dangerous. You can't be physically harmed while paralyzed, and the episode usually ends in seconds to a minute. If you experience it, know that the hallucinations are the brain doing a weird overlap of dreaming and waking. Grounding facts help. This will pass, you are safe, and your body will move again. Regular sleep, stress reduction, and safer sleep positions reduce how often it happens. Sleep paralysis nightmares are intense interruptions, but not signs of harm, and they usually ease as your sleep gets steadier. Sensory-linked nightmares. A beeping alarm becomes a siren in your dream, or a draft of cold air turns into a freezing windstorm. Those are sensory-linked nightmares. Real sounds, smells, or sensations from your sleeping environment get woven into dream scenes and make nightmares feel startlingly real. When external stimuli happen during REM sleep, the dreaming brain often interprets them through dramatic imagery. A kitchen fan becomes distant thunder, a phone vibrates becomes an earthquake, and the feel of blankets morphs into sticky cobwebs. Because the stimulus has a direct anchor in the dream, the scene reacts quickly and convincingly. These nightmares are common when you sleep in noisy, bright, or uncomfortable places, during illness, or when you're overheating or cold. They're the brain's attempt to make sense of real input while still in full dream mode. The result is a nightmare that mirrors the external trigger and can wake you abruptly with a strong emotional charge. Understanding they come from your environment helps. The dream is not prophecy or deep symbolism, it's your senses being translated into dream language. Small changes to your room and sleep routine often stop them from happening. Sensory-linked nightmares are vivid because reality is literally leaking into the dream, and fixing the trigger usually calms the dream world. Lucid nightmares. You wake up inside a dream and realize it's not real, but you can't move, and the fear keeps going. That's a lucid nightmare. This is a dream where you know you're dreaming, but the danger or panic still feels real. Lucid nightmares mix two things: awareness and helplessness. Sometimes you suddenly know you're in a dream and try to control it, and sometimes that control fails. You might shout, run, or try to wake yourself, but the scene keeps twisting. That gap between knowing and feeling trapped is what makes it terrifying. Common triggers are stress, sleep loss, irregular sleep, and waking suddenly during REM sleep. Certain meds or substances can increase them. Sometimes they follow a big emotional event, like trauma or intense anxiety. They're not signs that you're losing your mind, they're your brain stuck between wake and dream, with strong emotions still attached. When you spot a lucid nightmare, try grounding inside the dream. Focus on small details, a texture, a smell, counting objects, and tell yourself, I am dreaming, calmly. That often reduces panic and can help you steer the dream away from danger. Outside of sleep, keep a regular schedule, cut late-night screens, and manage stress with short breathing exercises. Lucid nightmares are intense but manageable. With a few simple habits and a calm, grounding trick in the dream, you can reduce their power and sometimes turn the nightmare into something you control. Daymare Nightmares. You're wide awake but trapped in a vivid, frightening image that feels like a dream. That's a daymare. Right away, it's a waking nightmare that hits during the day, sudden and intense, as if your brain borrowed dream logic and dropped it into reality. Daymares can feel like flashbacks, sudden waves of fear, or brief scenes that play in your mind with the clarity of a film. They often come without warning and can leave you shaken, disoriented, or convinced something terrible is happening, even when everything is fine. Because you're awake, your body can respond with a racing heart, sweating, or the urge to run, and your brain has to balance the alarm with the facts of your surroundings. Triggers include stress, exhaustion, strong emotions, or reminders of past trauma. Skipping sleep, caffeine, or being in a high-pressure situation makes them more likely. They're not dreams in the night. They're dreamlike intrusions into waking life that borrow the intensity and symbolism of nightmares. People describe them differently. Some feel like reliving a past event, others feel like imagined threats that never happened, and some feel cinematic, as if their mind briefly switched audio-visual inputs. The suddenness can make it hard to explain to others, and that isolation can add to the fear. Because daymares blur the line between dreaming and waking, they can shake your sense of safety during the day. Noticing patterns, when they happen, what you were doing, what you were thinking, helps make sense of them and shows they're connected to stress and memory, not a permanent loss of control. Vivid nightmares. You fall asleep and the dream looks, sounds, and feels sharper than real life. That's a vivid nightmare. Right away, it's a nightmare with unusually strong colors, clear details, and emotions that hit you like they're happening right now. Vivid nightmares stand out because your senses are dialed up. Faces are more defined, voices are louder, and the setting feels three-dimensional. The scenes can be ordinary or bizarre, but the intensity makes them unforgettable. You wake up still smelling, hearing, or feeling things from the dream, and those lingering sensations can make it hard to relax or return to sleep. These nightmares often show up after poor sleep, irregular schedules, or heavy alcohol and drug use. They're also common when you're sick, on certain medications, or going through intense stress. Sometimes a vivid nightmare follows a real-life event the brain is trying to sort out. Other times, it's the result of a brain that's overactive during REM sleep, replaying strong emotions with high clarity. What makes them different from other bad dreams is how immediate they feel. Even if the content is strange, the vividness tricks your body into reacting as if it's real. Your heart races, you breathe fast, and you might sit up sweating. The memory of the dream can replay during the day, pulling your mood down or making you avoid sleep because you fear the next overnight scene. Vivid nightmares are a signal. Your brain is processing strong inputs. They're common, upsetting, and usually temporary, especially when sleep stabilizes and daily stress eases. Epic nightmares. You step into a dream that feels massive, movie-like, and impossible to shake. That's an epic nightmare. It's a long, dramatic dream that plays like a mini-film and leaves you drained when you wake. Epic nightmares are bigger than a quick bad dream. They have plot, scale, and emotion. You might experience long sequences, changing scenes, multiple threats, or a sense that the dream is pushing toward a catastrophic finale. Time stretches. What feels like hours can be minutes. The stakes feel enormous, and the dream's logic can jump from one intense image to the next without pause. These dreams often combine deep fears with dramatic storytelling. They can be triggered by big emotional events, major life stress, or the brain trying to work through complex feelings. Sometimes an epic nightmare folds together memory, worries about the future, and symbolic imagery into a single, overwhelming experience. Because they're so long and cinematic, you remember details vividly and wake with the story still running in your head. People describe epic nightmares as exhausting. You might replay scenes all day, feel jumpy, and find it hard to focus because your brain is still processing the dream's narrative. They can happen to anyone, but they're more likely when sleep is fragmented, when emotional load is high, or after intense media exposure before bed. Epic nightmares are your mind's dramatic way of trying to sort out big feelings. They're intense, but also a sign your brain is working through something important. False awakening nightmares. You wake up, check your phone, sit up, and everything feels normal until you realize you're still dreaming. That's a false awakening. Right away, it's a dream of waking up that tricks you into thinking the nightmare is over when it isn't. False awakenings often feel ordinary at first. The room, the light, the small habits you do when you wake are all perfectly recreated. Then something feels off. The clock shows the wrong time, a doorway is in the wrong place, or a person behaves strangely. Because the scene mimics reality so closely, the panic can come slowly and then hit hard when you realize you're still inside a dream. Some people have a chain of these, waking up several times in the dream before actually waking. They happen during light shifts between REM sleep and waking, when the brain blends dream content with real waking routines. Stress, sleep deprivation, and irregular sleep patterns make them more likely. People who have lucid dreams sometimes experience false awakenings because their awareness wakes up inside the dream, but their body is still asleep. The effect is disorienting. False awakenings can erode your trust in the morning. You might test reality, check a calendar, or pin a note to prove you're awake. The memory of multiple waking moments can leave you groggy and anxious, as if your brain wasted energy running through a fake morning. They're unsettling because they hijack the safe ritual of waking and turn it into part of the nightmare itself. Prospectic nightmares. You dream of events that later feel like they actually happened or warn of something ahead. That's a prospectic nightmare. It's a nightmare that looks like a future scene, often with strong emotional weight. Prospectic nightmares play out like previews of worse things to come. They can be symbolic or oddly specific. A broken bridge, losing keys, an argument, and later you notice similarities between the dream and real life. Sometimes the match is literal, sometimes it's emotional. The same feeling of loss or danger shows up. These dreams are not supernatural predictions. They're your brain using past experiences, fears, and current worries to imagine possible futures. When you're anxious about a decision, a relationship, or a job, the mind runs scenarios at night and packages them as vivid, sometimes terrifying scenes. They're triggered by anticipatory anxiety, big upcoming changes, and stressful uncertainty. The brain rehearses possible outcomes while you sleep and magnifies the worst-case scenarios into nightmares. Waking from a prospectic nightmare can feel like a warning, but it's really a rehearsal for your emotions, a way your mind prepares for what might happen.